I am shaved and hair is did. So when do we start?
Right now.
Like, we already started?
Dude, this is the show, man.
Airsoft GI would like to thank our sponsors.
Hi GI TV, Bob the X-Man Hildebrand here for another episode of GI's Top 5. Now make sure if you want to get your stuff on GI's Top 5 to send those emails with photos and links to videos to rossc@airsoftgi.com. Well, without further ado, our honorable mention this week is going to go out to Daylan Stubblefield. Many apologies if I did say your name correctly. Now, you sent in a couple photos, one of which is a really cool action photo. You know, it's kind of taken of an angle at a photographer and a couple of the gentlemen running. It's really cool because it honestly looks like it's right in the middle of the action. I mean, there's a lot of photos we get that look kind of posed. This one does not look like that. It looks like you guys had just started playing or you're just going around a corner, so I really like that. Now, these other photos, you know, are really well framed. We just thought like there were a lot of elements in there that look really cool. You know, the guns and gear look really awesome, and it's just framed very well. So that's why you made it to our honorable mention slot on this week's GI's Top 5. All right, so our number 5 slot for this week goes out to Airsoft Raider 1. Now, we decided to give this top 5 slot out because he's using 2 melee weapons. He's dual-wielding melee weapons. He's got a tomahawk in one hand and a knife in the other, which is pretty impressive by itself. He gets a couple kills, and I think a lot of these players are pretty surprised because he definitely gets it from kind of far away. I prefer not to use these, you know, completely plastic tomahawks just because if you hit pretty hard they can hurt a little bit, but he definitely does tap the player, so it's not that bad. But I definitely really appreciate these melee kills. It looks really awesome and it's really well played, which is why you made it to our number 5 slot on this week's GI's Top 5. Okay, so our number 4 slot this week goes out to Reid Piper. Now, he's at the top of a stairwell, the top of a building, and some people come up the stairwell behind him. It's actually quite a large group, and he just turns on the flashlight and goes to town, gets just about all of them. It's very good vigilance on his part, and to be honest, it shows what, you know, a lot of people do incorrectly when they're going up stairwells. You definitely need quite a bit of teamwork to clear a stairwell properly, and this shows the vantage point of someone who is watching that like a hawk and deals justice from above. So very well played, Reid Piper, and this cover shot on the stairwell is why you got it to our number 4 slot. All right, so for the number 3 slot this week, it's going to go out to a gentleman named Kiwi. Now, what we thought was really cool about this video is not only are the guns, the airsoft guns, and the gear really cool, you know, there's also a custom paint job on, I believe, his gun and his little EOTech or EOTech replica, but also this rush in the beginning is awesome. You know, there's quite a bit of teamwork, at least in the first couple seconds, but once he gets, you know, on the flank of this enemy team, he is just dealing justice, BB after BB. You know, I believe there's some bang-bang kills in there, but it looks like he just tears the enemy team a new one, which is why you made it to our number 3 slot on this week's GI's Top 5. Okay, so for our number 2 slot in this week's GI's Top 5, it goes out to Ricardo Fortuny. Apologies if I didn't say your name correctly. Now, this video is sent to us out of Portugal, and what I first thought was really cool about this, or at least my first impression was like, this is awesome, it's in a container yard. But not only that it's in a container yard, but there is quite a bit of teamwork going on between the 2 gentlemen that are pictured in this video, or at least multiple gentlemen. Now, they also have quite a few different camera angles. Now, another reason I thought this was cool is because very, very often throughout this video that one of these gentlemen is using a Galil. I'm a big fan of airsoft Galils. I've used one at Tim vs. Bob, or at least Tim and Bob Storm the Midwest, and they use one in this film to great use. Now, I will say, you know, beyond the fact it's container, beyond the fact that he's using an airsoft Galil, beyond the fact there's great teamwork and multiple cameras, there is a really cool shot where they've got a zoomed in photo of, you know, one of these gentlemen firing, and it's got a little reticle on there. It was just a really cool cut in, and it just made it, I don't know, just a little bit more fun to watch, which is why you made it to our number 2 slot on this week's GI's Top 5. All right, so for our number 1 slot on this week's GI's Top 5, it's gonna go out to Brent Albaran. Now, this was filmed at the SC Viper course at the world famous SC Village, and what was really amazing about this video is that Brent Albaran decides to ditch his guns and just goes balls to the wall, rush for the flag. Now, this may have been a capture the flag game, but I believe it was, you know, the game known as football, where you grab the enemy flag and take it to the enemy spawn zone. What was amazing about this is he just goes right down the center, goes straight into the enemy respawn zone, and it reminds me of the phrase, or at least I believe it's the catchphrase of the SES, who dares wins. And Brent dared, and Brent won. So very well played, and it is definitely why you made it to our number 1 slot on this week's GI's Top 5. Okay, well that's going to do it for this week's GI's Top 5, but I just want to reiterate the fact that Going over these videos and photos is pretty much the best part of my and Ross's week. In fact, the entire marketing department really likes it when, we've got a bunch of cool videos and we show it around just to get everyone's votes. So I just want to say again, well, Ross and I just want to say again, we really appreciate it. And if you want to get your photos or videos on GI's Top 5, make sure to keep sending them to rossc@airsoftgi.com. Once again, that is rossc@airsoftgi.com. Well, I'm Bobby Axeman Hildebrand, and this is GI TV.
At Airsoft GI, we test guns before shipping them to you to make sure that they're working. This one's good to go, Mark.
Airsoft GI would like to thank our sponsors.